be able to spin application even much more faster, all right, and much more smooth and easier than the ones you do with Node.js, all right. So although I know every framework has its own drawback and so on and so forth, but most times what you need to know that they keep telling you that PHP is dead and so on and so forth. But then currently we have a new upgraded PHP with so many rich features, all right. And of course, Laravel too is very rich, all right. It's very rich compared to most framework. Personally, I've been able to, personally, I write Node.js as well. I also write Django, all right, and I write PHP Laravel majorly. Okay, so trust me when I tell you that this is the best framework, okay, I've had to come across. As long as software engineering is concerned, all right. I know I've not been able to, I've not had the chances to check out stuff like Ruby on Rails and probably maybe Go and its framework, right? But then I can say categorically, all right, that PHP is as elegant as Express.js is, okay? Sorry, Laravel is as elegant as Express.js is, okay? So forget about some other stuff that you need to. But then if you have to write Express and you want to have that feel of writing in a non-dynamic language, now you have to use TypeScript. And in PHP, you don't need all those things, all right? So once you are good with your typing, or if you are good, if you came from should I say a strict type programming language background like I did. I'm actually coming from the Java background. So you shouldn't even have any problems, maneuvering, how to make your program much more strictly typed and how to, make things much more spelled out. Okay. And there, like I did say earlier, PHP is there to, get you. Forget Laravel is just a framework that, spices PHP, right? It's one of the frameworks that at least spices PHP. We have other frameworks like Codecampr and some other stuffs, Symfony, and some other bunch of framework, and coming together, building these things all together, you see that PHP becomes much more easier and much more fun loving. I see, trust me, in as much as PHP is concerned, once you start writing PHP with frameworks, you actually enjoy why you are in PHP. I see a lot of persons, should I say, losing interest in PHP and so on and so forth. But then, now if you are talking about it, if you want to talk about it, they can keep telling that PHP is old, is that, but then you should know that in most cases that PHP is required as long as job, okay, is out there. Now, PHP already covers a lot. I think I mentioned this while we were starting out, that PHP covers a very big percentage of the web, okay? So meaning that you will likely not fall out of job easily if you are really, really good with PHP. All right. So, I mean, the level of energy it takes for you to get job as with languages like JavaScript and Node.js and whatever. So it may take less of that, to get a job for a PHP. All right. And of course, most of the platform now uses Laravel, like in as much as you can see Google. Let's just do but then in most cases, if you check this is not just websites. So it has about 231 and website, and Laravel has about 1,000 108,000 websites. Okay. But then this is because it's JavaScript and a lot of even I think most of the front end so uses Node.js like React and of course Vue. All right, this is why it is that high. But then on Laravel, so if you look at big project and so on and so forth, so it's just not just front end. So this is just it's only back end in most cases. Okay? So and if you look at this is a very huge opportunity. But then for you to even get market share here, the amount of work I think you require for you to be able to have jobs around here, you need more compared to this. Okay. So like I tell you, like I told you, yeah, most cases so we have to write Laravel and also write Node.js. But then if you get it down to Laravel, you understand, why it is, why you should be able to, why you should be here. So now this is the documentation of Laravel. We are currently in version 9. So see, other versions are now. So someone created Laravel. His name is Taylor Odwell. So you can go, check that out. So yeah, you can check this. I don't know if I can Twitter, but then you can check this guy out. So this is the creator of Laravel. He writes plenty, just plenty, but yeah, plenty of code. So you can see this is his, this is his GitHub account, and of course you can see his sponsors, and you can see who are sponsoring already. You can see his achievements. Good votes, contributor, and to do. Then you can come down here. Yeah, you have Initial. You can see this. So you can see this already. So like I said, you check this out. So it's the owner of the framework. Although there's never currently got a new team. All right. So but before it used to be him alone in the team. Okay. But now we have some other persons who are developing Laravel. All right. So now this is Laravel structures. All right. So this is for, of course, this is for your actions. All right. So if you are using GitHub Actions, okay. For your deployment and so on and so forth. Okay. And so you can whatever you wish to specify in your action. So I think for now, now you have the app. Okay, this app folder contains, this is where you actually build your applications. Okay, so you have the model providers. Yeah. So you have your console for your console thing like runs and so on. Then you have exceptions for handling your exceptions, HTTP for HTTP bound stuff. You have models for models, database or where data source stuffs. You have providers for different provider stuffs, and in there you have Bootstrap. This Bootstrap just spins your app up. okay, for like things you wish to do before your app gets started. And then the config, okay, stores out config, and most times it's better for you to do what have, although you can handle configuration files from the environment, and that will provide a help around that like env. Okay, but then most of the time it is better for you to store your values going from your environment, okay, into your config variables. All right. So imagine this. So if I'm going to access this, so I should use something like config.name, all right, or config.app, because this file name is what is app, config.app.name, all right, and this is the value it's pointing to. Now, what is the benefit of this? If you are accessing, know that you can access this out in any way in the app, but this is not right. Now, if you're intending to make your application faster and you catch it and you use this inside, okay, this is going to do what? This is going to return no, all right, because this is not going to be caged, all right. So this is going to return no, all right. If you update, it won't get updated. But if you do that and you get the DMV updated, or the value will always be accessible anytime you need it, all right. So that is just to note. And of course, we have different config files. Yeah, you can create your own config files, and automatically it should be pulled into the app. So we have the database for the database for database related stuff like factories, all right? Factories, migrations are just database. Okay, migration contains database schemas, all right? And of course, we have seeders. Seeders are like, seeds you want to have, all right? So when just some dummy leaders, okay? So that's what seeders would refer to, okay? And then this is for language. And of course, this is your app entry point. So this is where your app is started from, okay? Calls out this guy. So find out that sometime we will look at this. Okay, so you can see this define Laravel start migrate and true. So so you can see this. So this is for maintenance ish, ish. And of course, calls out composer. Remember the other time, so we have to be calling out composer. So this calls out composer because this is a composer powered app, right? And now this is where Laravel actually starts. So first, this is where the app is, which is calling your bootstrap. This is calling the bootstrap, okay? So imagine you want to do some other weird things, so you have to do it from the bootstrap before then passing whatever here and then passing it into this thing. So you can now, of course, I'll still show you that. So now you can now make whatever you want to make because there's a kind class already. So there's a way Laravel does this thing, and then yeah, so you can start handling your request. So response, handle, request, it takes out the request, and so on. You send. Then when you are done, final request, terminate. Okay. So now let's look at this guy. So you should see what this is doing. So this is app Illuminate Foundation application, all right? Now taking up the env app base part. So it turns out you're up to a singleton. But in case you want to do some other, some other stuff, so you can still spin them up. Then when you're done, return up. Okay. But now I don't want to bust your head, doing a lot of things there. So we'll start out, performing basic routes and perform basic actions with this. So then I don't know if we should consider testing. Yeah, we should consider testing. So I'll show you a bit about testing, and then I'll introduce you to some few stuffs. And of course, the resources is where you have if you remember that time, so where I was creating folder, So let's take the last class. Okay, yeah, let's take this one. Open with composer cartridge. If you look at this, so normally we have the normal, this is just like the routes, okay? Like if you pick up anything, so if you are going down to index, so Apache should be able to see this, then pick up from here, all right? Pick up which route from here. Now, if you are calling the index, for example, so you remember that we call what? We have a resource, then we have views, then we have the index.php. Okay, now if you look at I didn't intend to. I would have shown you one way. I would have thought like I wanted to teach for Laravel developers, but then I think it will be so much of things you have to learn, and the time for allocated for CodeCamp wouldn't permit that. And of course, and I feel that would be too big for you. So then, hence I had to go this route. All right. So now, if you look at the index, so you see that the index is just purely HTML with basic style, PHP style, PHP inline markup injection. Okay, like this. So we just try to do some stuff like PHP, and you can see this. So this is faster in and then closed at somewhere, and then we continue with the HTML and so on and so forth. Okay, so we make sure that all PHP code is being separated. Okay, so now what is NVC? MVC. So MVC stands for Model View Controller. All right. So what is the model? Model is basically your database actions, or like your database or your data source, you can call it. All right. And for view refers to, maybe it could be resource, probably JSON resource or HTML or vanilla text or maybe any kind of rendering system or like XML and so on. While controller, all right, is logic container, all right, in most cases. So now the container does what? The container interfaces both the view and the the model. So now when a request comes in, all right, from a web, all right. So now the first thing it lands out the logic controller, and now the logic controller in some ways kind of calls the database, all right, if there is any request for the database, or do what? Call the view directly. So you understand, like like a middleman, all right, who who interfaces who users, okay, with consumers. I don't know if you understand that view. Hello? How are you there?
Hello, yeah. We are here.
Kenneth, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Okay, hope it is not being so much abstract.
Okay. Not really. I think so far the explanation you've given for the three concepts, the model, view, and controller, like we are trying to get it. So I feel like it's like more of the controller should be like the PHP code we've been writing, and then the model should be maybe the data we have in a database, and view should be like giving it out to the user, like displaying. So that
Okay, somewhere it's close now. Look at the model, like a data source, just like example, like just like not really the data, all right? So model is the data source. So look at it from like an SQL database. Of course, you know an SQL database has like they have data, okay, inside of that. For example, if we have MySQL with a database of KodeCamp PHP, and inside database of KodeCamp PHP, we have what? We have table like users, and we have data in the table, okay? And data will contain of username, user ID, user whatever, or password and email and so on and so forth. Do you understand? Now, this database like MySQL has functions that you use. Okay. Now, the model in PHP is just like that. So you can now plug in MySQL and manipulate MySQL just like you are manipulating PHP. Do you understand? So while the view in most cases just refers to web page, like, or view just like you see it, maybe my computer screen. Of course, you know that my computer screen or every website is powered by what? Is powered by a view, like a code that is just responsible for displaying the view. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So in most cases, these things are like two or like separate entities joined in a way that you try to connect them. So come down with this ideology, like, of course, there is a back end, and of course there is a front end, and each requires different approach and different stacks. Okay, so normally the MVC approach comes in a way that the view is store something related to the user's presentation. It could be HTML, all right, and CSS, and in fact, it could be a JSON, all right. It could be an XML, extensible markup language. It could be a plain text. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So now the controller is like the intermediary. All right, that interfaces the database and the view. Okay.
Okay.
So I think when I was doing this, I was expecting some question, but I didn't get it. So I was just like, probably they understand. So you can see this. So this is just like our route. This is, each time we start Apache, okay, the server. So this is like a route. Of course, remember when I told you to do something like slash and then come to markcomplete.php. So you could access the code associated with this guy. All right. And now what does this code do? So this code comes down to the database, all right, and then do some stuff. In this case, it's just redirect the user back. Okay. And I can choose to return either JSON or I return what HTML. Okay. Now, if a user is connected to this application via API, so we need to have made provisions for what? Both for JSON and for normal view. All right. Now, if it is the user is not even using any browser at all, and then we want to make sure that we handle that, probably sends us a JSON file, and then we specify what the user is is requesting as a resource return, and probably if it is in a command line, all right, we can return just plain text or JSON or XML or whatever. So the controller handles that. Now this is in form, or in some cases the controller. All right. So remember, so we have the index, and the index is responsible, like each file here that is accessible. Of course, all these things is accessible from the web when you start Apache server. Now, if you look at this, all these things are referred to as what? Controller. Now, the other benefit of the controller and is remember that in most cases we wouldn't want our web users to see stuff like this or stuff like this or stuff like this or even stuff like this. We only want them to see from here to here. So this is where the controller comes to comes in place. So you have directory routes, doing stuff related to the app where you have probably maybe a public folder where you pass all these things that should be accessed by the public, the whole world. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, enough of that. So of course you can see it has the CSS, and of course it does have the JS and so on and so forth. So you can look at this. So there are different ways to compile. You can as well add JSON there in case you want to do some other math stuff. Then we have the route. So this specifies the endpoints. Okay. For example, here, if you look at here, each time the user visits this on a web browser, it returns a view. If you look at the view, so let me open this. So I'll show you shortly. So we can do it on our system. Of course, I don't think I'm even going to push from Laravel. I don't even feel like I should push any push. I don't know why I'm feeling that way.
Not really.
So now you have the view. So of course you can see the view is purely HTML with a touch of PHP. Okay, you can see this. Now PHP uses a template machine called Bleach. All right. So there are some other template template engine like handlebars for Node.js and I think which other one? Uh, Pog, I think, yeah, Pog for still Express app and Node.js, and a couple of other stuff that I'm needed to use. Now, PHP has its own. Sorry, I mean to say Laravel has its own. The Bleach, or the Bleach template engine, and these are syntax for Bleach. So this is just like a PHP background, tiny framework that does what that does compilation of PHP code within HTML. Do you understand? And these are some of the syntax. All right. So you have, for example, you have if, and you have the oath directives. So these are called directives. Of course, I'm not even supposed to. I think I say this now. What directives are, and. So we have the else directive. We have also the if and if, and of course, oath. And you look down. So for this curly braces, allows for values to be inputted like like for values to be gotten like what's it called, like a single variable. Okay, and of course it protects against HTML injection. Okay, so if you want to output HTML in HTML content, so you use a different, just use a difference of this. I'll still show you that. Oops. So, moving forward, So we also have in the route, we also have the API. So this provides you the access, or your user the access of, making API calls to your application. All right, from their maybe from their terminal or from another app, like for a front-end app or a mobile app. Okay. So we have channels. Channels are for maybe WebSockets related stuff. All right. So for example, you want to build the chat app systems, okay, and so on. This is where you niche these things. So channels where you create your WebSocket channel or whatever channel, and then perform some kind of authentication and then move on. So these are command related things. Okay. So for storage, this is where your application stuffs are being stored. Like this is where this here is the right place for you to store your uploaded files or your uploaded documents and so on and so forth. You can store them within here and specify the access. So these are framework related things. And of course, so this is for logs. So in case you don't know what logs is, logs actually provides you with error breakdown. So instead of you looking at it, sometimes things can go on. Your app doesn't really report it, but then the error report should be so much more explicit that it tells you a lot about the error. Now tests. Test is just the concept of making sure that whatever you're building, if you're building a feature or if you're building a section, so it works just as you require. So now tests are just a simple way of writing. Hello. So like I said, tests are just a simple convention of writing program to test your program. All right. So we have the editor config, okay, just for your Laravel configuration and so on. And this is the example, a template of an env file we should follow. Then we have some of these, and then we have, of course, this command line too. Then we have composer.json, composer package.json. Of course, we have some of this, some of this, some of this. And this is the readme. So you can go look through. I showed you this. So there are so many things here. You can look through them and then, of course. So now installation of a PHP, sorry, should I say Laravel framework, or starting out the Laravel framework. I have to come. I begin now, and I will create another folder and call it Laravel. So yep. Now this is how to start a Laravel project. So this is one way. Laravel has its own command line tools. You can go download that and use, and so you should be just able to do something like Laravel new app. Okay, and a new app should be created. So I don't have Laravel installed, like Laravel command line or installed here. So I will use Composer to install Laravel. So of course, the repo is Laravel stroke Laravel. And now the app name. Put them up. All right. So we go with that. So you can see creating a Laravel project as at. Oh, I'm supposed to come down here. Okay. All right, so I'm in the right direction. So yeah, Composer is creating the application for me. I think it's even done. So, oh, no, it's not. So yeah, so wait till that is completed. Okay, so now this is done. So I can now and probably open this with my PHP store and we can begin from there.
Hello.
Okay, so today will not even spend much time. Today's class is just going to be brief. So and I will just show you very few things. So now we now have our Laravel app on our ID. So you can see this panel, and of course you can see the controllers that I talked about initially. All right. So this is the controller, how the controller should play. Uh, I can create another controller, but then for now we will just postpone this one. Let's come out from top here for now. So remember that I told you that here stores here stores the actual your views. Okay. So if I have something like let me call this uh, about .date.php. So I will call this one now index. So but before then, let's start up. Let's just check if the environment has been basically set to what we need. Okay. So we have an env file and it's been set. So let's just spin this app up for now. To spin it up, this is what you do. To launch development mode, okay, on your application, or your Laravel application, you type the PHP artisan itself. So this command helps you to create server like the way we used to do PHP dash capital letter S and dash localhost, that's our address, localhost, then the port number. Okay, so in this case, you just type PHP artisan itself. Just like this. So that should be up. If you, I don't know why the PC is getting all. Very soon that should be up. Or without wasting time, I just do it here. Yeah, so let me check it. Okay, it is up. Yes, server should be up. Yeah, we have our server up. So if I come down to find you, you can see this. This is the app address. Once you come down here, I should be able to see welcome. I should be able to see a page. But guess what? So yeah, so let's just get rid of some of these things. Let me see if I can still rename this. Yeah, I can rename it now. Let's call it index. So I know this is going to depending on my ID. My ID doesn't. I want to show you something.
Hello.
It doesn't. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I raised my hand. So
Okay.
you can still have access to the project on the web without using XAMPP.
Not really. You need to install some because you need to install something like Apache. Something need to have Apache. Like this requires Apache to work on Apache and PHP. Then now what XAMPP does is it installs Apache and PHP in your system. So you need it.
Okay. So do you need to start it? Because
You can also install one, or if you do it globally. I didn't get.
okay, I was asking if you need to start it, like to start the control panel for it to work. I think just installation is okay. Then you go ahead and start the server using the terminal.
Yeah, just exactly. So you can see. I don't know why this is taking too much time to round up. Okay, so fine. Been able to let me just get rid of some stuff. So I'll just say X or let me see home. All right, so I'll need to pull all this off. Oh, yeah, this off. Yep. So something should fail. Why did it fail? Because you did not find the view welcome. So we have to go down to this, the routes. Remember, this is where you define your endpoints. We are on slash, all right? So I should be able to go index because we now have index instead of. So you can see now I have, and remember the route is what? Slash. So, yep. Now we've got to read of some other things. Yep. So I'll just copy this. Or paste it in some other place. About. So yeah, you can see welcome to our. What is this? Yeah, so we have welcome to home now. But if we go down to this place, so you see an error. Not found, 404 not found. All right, so this is because we do not have any route called about. So in that case, I'll just come here. Of course, the route we are going to be having is going to be what? About. So now I come down and refresh. You can see welcome to home. Why is it welcome to home? Because we are specifying the HTML, this associated with the index page. Now to change that, so we just simply call, remember we have the about here under the views, right? And welcome to about. So welcome home, and of course, so about. So we've been able to, move from one page to the other and so on. So basically, this is Laravel. This is a Laravel app now, and here contains the controller. This is the folder structure. Please, you can go look at it. I showed you the repository. So you can go look at it, and of course, you should be able to understand. Now, this is the documentation. All right. So a good programmer makes a good reader of, or should I say, a good reader of a good reader of documentation makes a good program, or a good whatever product user. If you read the manual of whatever product very well, so you should be able to be good at using that product. So this is, the manual for Laravel. So this is how to spin a Laravel app. All right, remember, so we have different files folder doing different things. I told you this is for console related things like problems and so on stuff. And this is for exception management. And this is for HTTP stuff like setting middleware, determining controller, or should I say a logic board for all your web requests and so on. And of course, the next one is we have the model. So think of models as a data source. Then we have the providers. Then we have the bootstrap, okay, that's responsible for spinning our app, all right? And of course, for the web. And we have the config. So I already told you that config stores variable from the env or from just maybe from any source during to be available during runtime. Now we have the database, and inside the database we have factories, we have migrations. Migrations are just simple table schema, all right? So you can see table. So this is a schema. Now, what is a schema? A schema is just a blueprint. Remember I talked about a class. All right. So a schema in this case is just like a blueprint, but this in this case, a blueprint in this case for MySQL and NoSQL. So you can see yes, ID, and of course every ID is a primary key, except you can specify this is default, except you specify. Now we have another string called name. We have another string also called email. We have timestamp, email verified that, and we have another string called password and another field called remember token, and it's a string field, and of course every timestamp is a date field, date and time field. All right, and of course we have when you run the migration up and down, so the down removes it. So I think in the next class we'll talk about class. So for now, then we have the database that generate topic data for your database. We have the public, and I told you that public is the entry points. And now this handles all your routing stuff and make sure that each route you are calling is routing back to what index.php. You can see here. All right, so now this makes you to define like a custom route. So it's not Apache again that's handling our route for us. So it's now PHP that's handling our route. So you can start your CSS or your assets here also. So we have the resource, and we talked about CSS and JavaScript and the views. And we have routes to where I told you this is related for API uses, and this is for of course web uses. And we have storage. I told you logs, and then applications, storage, file storage, and so on and so forth. Then we have tests. Tests is for it's for writing tests, okay, for your feature, right, or for your whatever you're doing. So you can see the first case. This case is create application, all right, and inside use create application has create application there. Future, we have test example, and of course it verifies that this must always be there and must be 200 all times. And vendor, you already know what vendor is. And then we have some other bunch of files. So before we leave, any question? Any question?
Yeah, not from me, not from my end.
Okay. Tao, any question?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. So in the absence of question, please go and look at this. Please go and look at this, 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 and yeah, you have a lot of things to do. This is where actually PHP programming starts. So have a nice day.
All right, thank you. You too.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right, bye.
Okay, please, you can end the meeting.